In 1985, I went into New York State's maximum security prisons. I had no idea what was to come. I would spend the next 10 years teaching men who were mostly black or Latino at the most basic forms of remedial reading and writing, and depending upon the nature of their bids or sentences, follow them, their families, and their communities all the way to a fully accredited master's degree granted by the State University of New York. I realized from that earliest beginning, and I still don't know quite how, that the one thing I had to leave behind if I was going to continue going through those gates was my own will to despair and my secret pride in it. It wasn't just that there was no room for that sense of loss. It was the fact that a continued carriage would have meant demeaning and further reducing the people I would work with for all those years to follow. The final hold they had in the midst of catastrophic and unimaginable loss was their desire to gain an education which posed for them the hardest questions about personal breakage, with its price of a nullification so unbearable and paralyzing that one becomes a corpse in a corpse world, smelled, tasted, swallowed every conceivable second. Where can we begin to think again as those persons of Whitman's vista and creative theme, and in thinking not be overwhelmed by the dishaping ravages everywhere we see around us and their ruthless totalities? At the core of that totality lies the images of our prisons, a nothing we have manufactured and continue to manufacture, and by that I mean a nothing, into our largest growth industry, in which we witness now spreading with our invasions and our promises to construct an American quality maximum security prison in Iraq. Why, with the background shadow of our well to deadening racism, have we embarked on this unprecedented mining of our own civil disintegration and indifference that has counterfeited our private daily lives with what we have come to believe are acceptable violations? I've tried to bring up at least some of these questions. When I moved to California in August of 1997, my native state had 155,000 prisoners in its warehouse. As I write this introduction in July of 2004, there are now 163,000 men and women imprisoned in this one state alone. Obviously, there are many more. Yet this number is the tip of an iceberg. There are 40 adult and youth prisons in California, with a total of 308,000 present inmates and parolees, with approximately 54,000 employees needed to oversee and control this huge number of bodies. 31,000 of these employees belong to the Correctional Peace Officers Union, one of the most influential single lobbies in this state, able to actually dictate policy and with an average salary per guard of $73,000 per year, far more than teachers in elementary, middle, and secondary schools, and more than many assistant and associate professors in California's colleges and universities, has, in addition to its massive power, unlimited sick leave for all of its members. In the face of massive budget cuts, the only entity to receive increases is the prison industry. Kings County is the largest county in the United States, where more than 10% of the population are prisoners. Lassen County, with its population of 35,000, has 10,500 prisoners. Prison has become so essential in California that any significant reduction is economically unthinkable. The recidivism rate for adult prisoners is 70%, a number so overwhelming in terms of its total cost to individuals, families, communities, and the nation as a whole that it seems an inaccessible blank, but a blank nonetheless that guarantees constant employment and benefits for a prison industry that forces all of us to feed on crushing hypocrisy and cynicism. This is a triumph, generating barrenness and dread at the secret core of our daily lives, so tangled we don't any longer know how exactly its touch rots every one of us. The pictures from Abu Ghraib, swelled with perversion and self-satisfied hate, are only hints of our domestic abyss we have already perfected and begun to export. This is not a threshold looming before us as a people. It is a threshold we passed through long ago, and we have been for at least 2 generations perfecting its ransoms.